Hi, this is Paul, Golden Gate Enterprises. We're giving you kind of another construction project profile and things that we see out in the field on a daily basis. This is another cantilever deck that is failing. There are thousands of these failing decks that people don't recognize or kind of ignore. Let's go through the anatomy of this. This particular one has two cantilever decks on the front of the building. The upper deck is substantially more rotted than the lower deck. The lower deck's got a tremendous amount of rot. But let's take a look at what's going on here. One, first of all, a cantilever deck is nothing more than the joist of the building extending out further from the face of the building in order to create the supports for the deck. So the situation is you don't have any posts that come down, you don't have any beam going across to support the deck like a lot of traditional decks. The challenge comes in that if these joists do rot out, the only way to fix them is you have to go back into the building, and typically it's approximately 2 feet for every 1 foot that the deck sticks out. So this one's about 4.5, 5 feet, so you have to go in 8 to 10 feet, something like that, into the house. You have to open up the floor or open up the ceiling. So when you slide in the new joist, they all have to be done with an engineered connection, and you replace the joist. And today, we use pressure treated lumber. For many years, these are nothing more than dug fir pieces of wood, which are the same species of wood that was typical for being used in the interior of the house. The problem is it has absolutely no meaningful weather resistant properties, and once it gets wet and it begins to rot, it continues to rot. And you've got to remember, when we talk about rot is a fungus, and a fungus must be removed or it will continue to grow and spread. So you can't just leave it because it'll just continue to spread like a cancer. So let's take a look at what's going on here. You can see many things have been done over time here. These are not our repairs, but others have. This is a piece of wood that was sistered up alongside this joist. You can see these added blocks that were put in. You can see a piece that was spliced in here. You can see another piece of wood that was added here. This joist was doubled up over here. None of this counts for a structural repair. This is a hack job, and hack jobs turn into dangerous situations because people think they've kind of addressed it when in fact they have not. And there's no possible way that this was done with permits, because this would not be allowed to be done because it is not structurally correct. And the result is, you can see in this picture, the deck is actually pulling away from the house. That's it. It's sagging, and it's because of the rot that's in the joist. This is a very dangerous deck situation that I personally would never set foot onto this deck, because it could pull away and collapse from the front of the house in a split second. And unfortunately, when decks fail, they don't give you a notice 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They just go boom, and it's over with. And we've heard and seen the horrific stories all around the country. We have our own particular disaster in Berkeley that shows the deadly result of the collapse of decks, and in particular a cantilever deck. So at any rate, this is the type of work that Golden Gate Enterprises specializes in. We're licensed general contractors, and we work throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. You can find us at that phone number, that website address. It's bayareacontractor.com, and also a company name is Golden Gate Enterprises. And when you do these types of projects, it requires a great deal of expertise. It requires not only the dry rot repair, the structural details, but there's typically stucco work involved, waterproofing, tie-in with a window or door, and it's just a multitude of trades. And we do all this in-house. And if you get a typical contractor who doesn't do this stuff for a living on a regular basis, they kind of bring in other people, and it turns out to be a hodgepodge, and the risk of failure goes up dramatically. And we know this because over half of our work is pulling apart jobs done by others that have failed. So if you want to get the job done properly, dry rot structural repairs, we handle all the construction, plans, permits, and engineering. So check us out. Thanks very much.